Hello and welcome back to Energonomics. This is your host, Richa Mishra. India is currently navigating a high stakes diplomatic and strategic challenges. Over 40% of India's crude oil imports and a significant amount of LNG transits through the Strait of Hormuz, a primary conflict zone today. One won't be wrong in saying that the Strait is India's primary energy lifeline, handling a massive portion of its daily requirement. In this episode of Energonomics, I discuss with Dr. Umud Shokri the ever evolving situation and where do countries like India stand. Dr. Shokri is a Washington based energy diplomacy and energy security analyst, and he is currently serving as a visiting research scholar in the Shar School of Policy and Government at George Mason University. Welcome, Umud, and thank you for sparing some time for us.
It's my pleasure, and thanks for having me on the podcast.
So, Umud, before I move on to any questions, the first thing which I want to throw at you is the most recent development, this 30-day waiver which US is talking about. How do you see it?
It's a great question. As you know, we are in the middle of the ongoing war between Iran, Israel, and the US. Before that, they started the war, we can see stability in the market. And as you know, during the last OPEC Plus meeting, due to market condition, OPEC Plus meeting made a decision to increase production capacity of member by 2006 barrel per day by the next months, next April. But before that, as I mentioned, we have stability in the market and there is a balance between demand and the supply. But always, many times, we can see that geopolitical events directly affected all dynamics in global energy market, no matter LNG, natural gas, coal, and oil especially, and due to all ongoing war, we can see instability in the market. We can see oil price goes up. And before they started our podcast, I checked the last price, and at present, the oil price is to 89, and it's expected to reach oil price about 100 by the second week of the war. And I think after that, the COVID and the Russian invasion of Ukraine and also energy crisis, this is the ongoing war and the tension in the region. It is a huge risk toward energy market, especially demand side such as India, European Union, and East Asia, China, South Korea, and other countries as well.
I'm glad you brought the point of pricing. So, what is the thought which is coming to all of us mind is that what is this whole situation? First was Ukraine. Now we are seeing what is happening in Iran. We saw what happened in Venezuela. So, what all this geopolitical tensions mean for oil and gas price, as well as what are the inflation risks?
It's a great question. As I mentioned in the first question, geopolitical events such as the Ukraine war, COVID, and current war in the Persian Gulf shows that the instability in the market directly affected the global economy, consumer side, energy security, economic security, and national security. And I think all countries, especially demand side, consumer market has to get more lesson from the current war. What? Why? Because if they continue to dependent of importing hydrocarbon resource from the such strategic transit point, such as Strait of Hormuz or Red Sea, they have to face such risk in the upcoming year, because we are living the geopolitical period, and we cannot see temporary, perpetual peace in the Persian Gulf, all in general, the Middle East. And as you see, we have ongoing war in the Ukraine, and there is no clear future about that the possible ceasefire or the peace between Ukraine and Russia as well. And also, If we can see some sign of the ceasefire and negotiation between the Iran and Israel and the US in the maybe the third or fourth week of the Korean War, there is no guarantee that we cannot see such war or tension between other countries in the region, and it's directly affected the demand side, energy security, national security, and economic security as well.
I'm glad you gave it in detail the entire geopolitical perspective. But what I want to also understand from you is that how do you see the trade and export exposure of India? Particularly, keeping in mind the dependence which we have on Middle East.
As I mentioned, India as one of the huge economic countries, the world economy, and will play an important role in the demand side. And major demand comes from the China and India as well. But in the last decade, India tried to more focus on diversification of its energy resource, and we can see huge progress in the energy transition, and especially we can see huge renewable energy project around India. But India, as I mentioned, one of the world economic leaders and economic power, superpower, maybe in the next decades, has more focus on the, again, diversification of energy resource, more investment in energy infrastructure, own domestic energy potential, and also trying to diversify and more importing maybe oil and gas from the multiply countries, not from the Middle East, maybe from the African country, from the spot market as well. India, besides China, demand side has to get more lesson from this event, and also they have two options: more invest in energy transition process, and also diversification and gradually decreasing dependency of foreign countries, especially in the next decade.
I'm glad you spoke about renewable and energy transition. Now, given the whole situation and the implications will be there on India's fiscal math also, not immediate, but we already seen the strains. It would not, in the coming months, we'll have to see how the government works out its fiscal math. And as you know, that there's a component of subsidy also here. So in all these things, the situation actually exposed India's vulnerability as energy security is concerned. So what do you think will, be the implications on India's clean energy transition process?
Thanks for asking such a good question. As I mentioned, every country's, no matter procedure or consumer, has own long-term energy strategy in the shadow of the Paris Summit, and also, Global Climate Summit. And as you know, every year we have seen UN Climate Summit, and this year, we can see Turkey Summit by November, this November, and in the long-term, India net zero program, I think it is 2070. Please correct me if I'm wrong. India has its own strategic pathway to gradually decrease the role of the hydrocarbon, its energy mix, and also increase using of the renewable energy and clean energy in general. And as I mentioned, and see in some strategic document by Indian government, India also trying to more invest in clean energy technology, which very critical for reaching a net zero program. And also India has its own plan also to invest in critical mineral as well, because critical mineral play an important role in global clean energy challenge. If the country will be able to invest and has, the huge resource of the critical mineral, will be able to play an important role, such OPEC Plus member playing right now in hydrocarbon market. At present, China has its own technology and research, and if India more invest in own research, or also try to invest the other countries' critical mineral research, India with the huge potential in renewable energy will be able to be one of the leaders in the region regarding the energy transition and also clean energy, and also reaching a global endeavor to net zero by at least 3 decades later. It's in the shadow of its own strategic plan as well.
Thank you for that elaborate answer, Umud. But before I close, I know as I said, you're stressed for time and you are actually in the thick of everything. You are sitting in a place where everything is happening. So today we feel that the two, strategic autonomy and geopolitical balancing, are they becoming much abused terms today?
Without the using that the de-escalation foreign policy and without the using more effective energy diplomacy in any country's relation with the neighbor and global power, such country will not be able to secure its energy security, economic security, and national security, and in the general its national interest in its relation with the neighbor and, as I mentioned, with the global power. India and other countries, especially, I have to go into more information about the India as you asked about the India. I think after the end of the war, I hope we've seen that some ceasefire in the Iran, Israel, and the US war by the maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. After that, the end of the war, we can see more endeavor from the India foreign policy to create a balance in relation with the Russia. We can see more investment by the US companies in the India energy, especially renewable energy project. We can see some investment comes from the GCC in India energy sector, and also India will be able to import maybe some more hydrocarbon from the GCC, and also in the broad sense, India also has to improve its relation with Iran, because India will be able to invest in the Chabahar port, to use Chabahar to reach Central Asia, and it will be win-win game for both Iran and no matter who comes to power after the end of the war. India and Iran will be able to share some interest in the Central Asia and also in the Caspian. In the Persian Gulf as well. And in this regard, we can see some more active foreign policy from the Delhi in the post-war, and as I mentioned, to create a balanced relation with the Russia, China, especially with the US and also GCC and Iran as well. New phase in the Israel and the India relation as well, because as you know, they share some interest in the new proposed corridor, and we can see more cooperation between the Israel and the India post-war, because they have a good potential in energy security, weapons, and also international corridor, because international corridors has a win-win game for both sides, and we can see new phases relation between the India and Israel, but at this post-war. And as I mentioned, I expected to see more active foreign policy from the Delhi toward GCC, Iran, Israel, US, and Russia at the same time.
That's a very optimistic note. Let's keep
I know,
but let's keep our fingers crossed. So,
in the real politics, just want to end up in the real politics. Yeah, it's the best chance to create a balanced relation. But sometimes priorities will be changed due to new administration in each A country or B country. But it's a reality. We have to see what goes on in the upcoming years and decades as well.
So I'm glad you summed it up for us. So the sum and substance of whole situation which we are seeing today is all about geopolitical balancing and strategic autonomy, and it is more of bilateral relations which each nation has with each other. And though a lot of criticism has come to India's way, but India actually has shown a certain amount of maturity this time around when handling these tensions. So thank you so much, Umud, for giving these clarity to our viewers and letting us know your thoughts on how the world of your part is seeing this whole situation as. Thank you so much. My detailed conversation with Umud is also available in the link below. On a rather optimistic note, we end this episode of Energonomics. Till we meet again.